Alright, so I am back, and I guess that's my forever opening line, I guess. I seem to always say that. And today we are going to do, real briefly, look at the Fansproject's Crossfire O2A and O2B. Now, I know we've looked at this set a few times. The big thing is that first time I looked at it is the reissue United version of these guys, and it was also the reissue of the Fansproject guys with different paint schemes. Then I re-reviewed that set, I believe. I re-reviewed it with an Energon version of these guys, and then also with the repaints of these two. So this is the original version, the first set that first came out. This is the first repaint of this Bruticus, the Bruticus Maximus, and the Revenge of the Fallen line. So this is the very first version of this set, and the very first, the only way to get it originally, and it just was an insane aftermarket price after everything sold out real quick. But so quick look at the packaging. Main difference, like if you see this set, being sold, used or whatever, and you see individual boxes, you'll know that it's the original set. Not only is the product picture a little bit different, and the coloration of Explorer here, for example, but it's individually boxed. It's not in a 2-pack. The reissue set is a 2-pack. So we got product image here. We got the shadowy darkness there, and this only shows off what actually comes in the set. Good picture of blast off. You can do this, or this. Arm mode, and that's really it. And then we have Swindle. Again, he's a different coloration than he was with the reissue. There's product placements, everything that's in the set, image, stuff I can't read. Well, actually, I can read this stuff. I can't read this stuff. Go. Oh, and leg. Alright, so here's the set. I've got them in the alt modes right now. We're going to just briefly go over each one of these and show them off together. So we do have the Blast Off. Like I said, this is the original version of the Blast Off. So he's got the... he doesn't have a window on the front painted on. Because this was supposed to be an unmanned drone, so it didn't need a window. So, really cool looking. I love this alt mode. I think this is so much better than... And I'm going to get a lot of shit for this one, but this one is better than the Warbotron one. And the main reason why is for all you people that are scale nuts. Onslaught... Bruticus wouldn't make a very good scale because you got a space shuttle in the mix. Whereas you have an unmanned drone, it actually does scale with these vehicles. So having a small tank is okay. Having a helicopter about the size of a Humvee, that's okay. Having a Humvee, and then the unmanned drone with a flatbed truck that can actually carry this is actually pretty realistic, scale-wise. The helicopter probably should be a little bit bigger, but, whatever. I think it's actually pretty close to what it needs to be. So you can put them on here. There's also a way you can reconfigure this into a launch pad mode, and he'll plug into the waist piece. I'm not going to show that off because it's kind of ridiculous. So yeah, there's him. Next up, we'll take a look at Swindle here. Great Humvee mode. I absolutely love this thing. I think it's gorgeous. They did such an excellent job with it. Now, the Warbitron version of him is actually superior to this figure. This is this is better for the Scout class figures, and I can't imagine the Warbitron one being in this scale. But if it were, this would probably be as close that you could get it to that. So the Warbitron one really is better. And I'm not saying the Warbitron Blastoff is worse than this. This just makes more sense for the set. So, all I'm saying there. Then we get to the Brawl. So these two were the new figures for the set. This is the original figure with the upgraded weapons, and I think this looks pretty ridiculous. Actually, I don't like the look of this. You can take these off and just set them off to the side, and this does make it a little bit more convincing, like anti-aircraft tank type thing. But you do have visible hand syndrome. Turret does roll around. These do go up and down. Now, on the later versions of the set, these things are almost impossible to keep on. Even this one, it's hard, but it does hold better. That's one of the best things about getting one of the earlier versions of a mold is they hold together a little bit better. So yeah, with these things in there, it's okay. It's not the greatest. I could think of better things. I would have preferred to replace this whole top assembly with an actual tank turret, but I know that would have been difficult. Or replace the entire tank with a better tank. And yes, Warbitron tank mode is infinitely better than this figure could ever dream to be. Even despite the fact that this is actually a smaller scale and should be simpler, this thing holds no flame towards Warbitron. Then we get to this piece of shit. This is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you got the giant missile pods on the side, which look ridiculous. You got guns in his hands on the bottom that double as a stand. And then because of these things being in the way, his legs now have to fold up under the propeller. This is absolutely ridiculous. So I'm going to show you what the helicopter mode looked before the add-ons. And this looks a lot better than he did with the add-ons. This looks more like a helicopter. Yeah, it does look like a robot folded up, but it does at least pull off the resemblance of a helicopter. These really do not add much to it and leave a lot to be desired. And then we've got Onslaught. Now, he's the one that gets the best of the upgrade kits. You can see this wheel is actually a different color, and that's because when I got this set, everything was fine except one of these connector ports that were attached to the arms was actually broken. So I actually bought a second Onslaught, just the regular version. So the wheel's a little bit of a different color, but other than that, this whole section is a different color because it's from a different figure, but it actually fits in pretty well. So anyway, he, instead of being a missile pod truck, those fold down and then you can click the feet in. So now he's the long bedded truck that he was in G1. Not quite the same front, but this is more of a modern take. Looks great. Cannons fit onto the top. Kind of help to cover up the fact that his head's just kind of sitting right there. So that looks great. The hands in the missile pod forms just sit right there. Looks great. I absolutely love this thing. It's awesome. So we're gonna get into transformation real quick. We'll do the actual figures here. So you pull the gun off, and then pull this section up, fold them out, and then these will just rotate down. Flip the heel spur down, just like so. And this will come back. Flip the arms out. Again, we've already looked at this, so I'm not going to spend too much time since I am doing the entire set at once. Alright. And then you can just take the gun here and plug it into his hand. And that's it. Real quick, real simple. He does suffer from quite a bit of back heaviness, mostly due to the fact that he's got a giant backpack. But yeah, he really does pull off the swindle look. And then posability, his head ball joint, shoulder is ball joint. He's got a ball peg, so he's got double hinge elbow with the ball joint there. Waist swivels, hips are on ball joints. Thigh swivels, bends at the knee, foot has an ankle tilt, both forward and side to side, and then the heel spur does rotate a little bit. So, all in all, awesome figure. I really like this swindle. For this particular size, this is hands down the best swindle you're going to ever get. Alright, so blast off here. You just want to pull these little sections here up, pull it right off. That works too. Pull these up, get those out of the way, flip the hands down. This will come back. These sections will kind of fold out, and then you have to rotate this around as you're doing it. Rotate around, flip this open. Head out, flip it up, and you split the legs. You take this section right here, and this will just pull out, rotate up, and there's just a little tab right there. The little brown tab right there that fits into this little slot on the plastic right there. So just line that up, and again, we'll show it over here. There's the tab, there's the slot. So you pull this out. This will double hinge up. You line those two up and it just slides into place, just like that. Fold the wings back, and the foot goes straight. Foot goes straight, just like that. Get his little side fins here straight up, and then he can hold his choppa thing. And there you have blast off. Real quick, posability, head is on a ball joint, great range of motion there. Side to side, up, down, all around, no problems. Shoulders on a ball joint, it's also on hinge, so it gets a little bit extra pivot. He's got the same ball pin elbow joint, so it does hinge, and then there is the ball joint. Waist swivels, hips, ball joints, thigh swivels, bends at the knee. Foot is on a ball hinge, so it goes all the way out. It's great range of motion, and he's not nearly as back heavy as Swindle, so he pulls it off a lot better. Again, great figure. For his size, he is the best blast off there is. Now, I mean, I know Warbitron does an excellent job with the robot modes. I'm not fighting those two against each other because these are totally different scales. That's more MP scale. This is more classic scale. All right, so Brawl here. So you pull these guns out, flip these treads back. You want to swivel the green hinge, not the top one, but the green one, and that swivels all the way around, like so. Split the arms, like so. Rotate the hands around, like so. Plug that back in. This section here will come off, and it folds down, that folds back, head folds around, feet fold down, and you untab that, and there you have the Brawl in robot mode. You just give him these guns, and he doesn't look anything like Brawl. Not at all. This is not Brawl. Between the duck feet and the back wings, this is just not Brawl at all. So he does a terrible job resembling Brawl. But the original mold wasn't meant to do that. And then as far as this big horrible orange thing, this is just the Energon star that you can take off if you want. Let's see. I'm going to give this dude a gun and Swindle a gun. There you go. And then Vortex, you want to flip this around, pull this out, this assembly will rotate around, straighten out the legs, flip the arms around, come up here, and you want to pull this little thing out like so. This will fold around, and there you go. As you can see, real quick, real easy. And then you're supposed to take these things and you open up one panel and you just plug in the circle right there into that hole right, or in that peg right there, like that. And this doesn't look so bad on him in this mode. I think they look absolutely stupid in helicopter mode, but they don't look so bad here. And you can fold the propellers down so they kind of lock together. So it's more like a mini cape, like Blackout's cape, only not as awesome. Set him off to the back. Then we have Onslaught, who's got the most accessories here. Pull these things off the side, and these actually are guns, so you can actually give these to Vortex here. And there you go. I know, thrilling, right? All right, pull this assembly here off, and you can split those. Set those off to the side. Then you want to pull the gun off, and then this thing here will kind of unhook, and then you set that off to the side. And there you get the this is the actual Energon figure, so it would be like this with these flipped up like that. So anyway, you flip this down, and this will plug into place, like so. Split the legs, come in here, open this little panel here. This will come down. And this should be on the other side, and you can just pull this around like that, and you're fine. I'm going to leave it like this because this is how I want it for combined mode, to have these pieces facing the other side. But you can do that. It is not a problem. And the legs on here are really tight, but they're not like the United version where you're afraid that you might break it tight. Alright, then you take this assembly and it just kind of folds to the back like so. Split the arms, rotate this around. And these were supposed to be like gray all the way down, but you see that they're black because of the original Onslaughts, or Barricades arms. And due to the new head, it doesn't really lock in as well as it originally did. But that's one of those things you just kind of have to deal with, I guess. Try to rotate it around, see if that helps. And not really. A little bit. Not really. Alright. So there you got him. You can take this piece here, rotate it down. There's a plug that he can hold. Plastic looks great together, as you can see. You take this here, rotate this piece around, and this you can just take here and plug into his hand. This will just rotate around like so. And there you've got with the two big cannons, and then you can take these pieces here, flip this up, and he's got the missile pods, which I always hate these things. And what you want to do here is try and get everything out of the way, but there's this little plug right here. You take this and plug it in over his shoulder, flip this up, and well, bam, there you go. And then for size comparison, while we got them all here they are with the Seeker Jet. So he's about a head taller than the Seeker. These guys are about a head, almost 2 heads shorter than the Seeker. So it's a scale that works pretty well with the classic Seeker mold. But once you get more modern figures, it stops working as well. Here they are with the War for Cybertron Megatron, which I think this works pretty well. Here they are with the Masterpiece car. Absolutely does not work whatsoever. Rodimus, it works okay, but not very well. It's like forgivable, but I mean they're half the size of him. It just doesn't work that well, to be honest. And here they are with the Brighton Storm figure. Again, same issue. He's too big for them, or they're too small for him. But this was one of the first outings in the Combiner series, so it's forgivable that they didn't. I mean, they worked with what they had. So, all right, Combine Whip. All right, so we want to take all these accessories off. We'll start with Vortex here. And you flip this up like so. Flip these arms in like this. Then you want to take this assembly here, and it rotates around. And then you rotate this, and you rotate this. So now it's like that. So then you want to take the hands here, and you pull them out. These two will plug together. And there you have the hand. And there's 2 slots here and on the other side. And what you want to do is just line this up, and this will just slide over his legs like so. Now this is not the best locking mechanism I've ever seen, especially for Fansproject. This is actually kind of almost half-assed, but it actually works so much better on this one than it does on other versions of the mold. So now you want to get it so that take this piece, and these will plug in to the helicopter, but you want to always make sure that the connector port can move down so that the missile pods are facing down. That way he can have upward rotation on his arms. So you plug that in. This will fold to the other side, and you plug that in. And there you go. There's his arm. Setting that off to the side. We'll do Onslaught next. Take this assembly off. Pull the gun off. Pull that off. Pull that off. And then what you want to do is you flip the head up like so. Then this assembly will come up, and you want to get it so that these are going to plug together. Then you rotate the arms here, or no, you want it like this, so they're flat like this, and then the arms can come down, and there's a plug here and a hole right there. And as you can see, I mean, if I hadn't pointed out that these were different arms, you probably wouldn't have noticed. Only main difference is that those are blue instead of red like the rest of him. Again, problem with clear plastic. Fold that down. Plug it all in. Alright. Then you want to pull these assemblies out, like so. This will come up, rotate the head around. And then you can leave these out. You can also kind of fold them in to kind of save space. I personally like to hinge these out and then hinge them back in like that. I think that cleans it up a little bit better, in my opinion. That's how I like it. Everyone's entitled to their own way. So this all come together, and then the two little tabs here and here, plug into these two holes right there and there. Just like so. Give everything a good push, make sure it's all where it should be. There we go. Just like that. And then I take these legs here and I fold them up sideways rather than straight like it says you're supposed to. It's supposed to be like this, folded up. I like to do it out on the side because it gives his thighs just a little bit more girth, and I think it just looks a little bit better. There you go. I'll attach this gun assembly last, but we can take the waist piece here off, and that just plugs on the back of the gun. You can just plug that in, and there you go. Looks great. Looks great. Alright, so pulling his guns off. Flip this up. This will come up like so. Rotates around. Locks into place. This will rotate around or fall off, you know, whatever. So flip the feet up. Legs will plug together. Just like so. Actually, before you do that, you want to take this green swivel piece here, fold it down, just like so. And there you go. Then you want to take the left foot here, and it just, on these pegs here, it'll just plug right in. Like so. And then it does have the, let's go portability here. It does have the ankle tilt, and that's it. He will have an elbow or knee joint, but we'll go into that when we get them combined. This guy here has the thigh swivel or bicep swivel. Double bend elbows. His hand does rotate, and each finger is on a ball joint, so good range of motion there. And then it has one digit there, and then the thumb is also on a ball joint. All right, swindle. We're already at about almost 30 minutes now. Oh well. Flip these heel spurs up. Pull that back, flip the head down, they'll plug in. This will fold over and plug in on itself. Like so. Same thing over here. Like so. This will rotate together. giving me trouble. It's because I'm rushing, that's why. Alright, so that all tabs together. This will fold down, those plug in. This, there's slot there, tab there, tab there. Pull that up. Locks into place. Looks great. Here's the foot. Fold that up. Tab that in. And then for posability, he does have the ratcheted foot joint there. And then posability on him, his head is on a ball joint. Great range of motion there. Waist does swivel all the way around. Hips can go out. And then it takes a little finagling with the waist armor, but they do go that far and all the way back. And this, I mean, this is one of the reasons why I really like the original version better than the re-releases, because this, I mean, you can see this is holding in, and it's just a little peg, just a little peg. All right, pull this off. We'll sort it out. Put these down. Put this head in. Put this up like so. And like so. So all tab together. And then you want to fold this up. Fold this up. These sections will just tab together. Kind of funky to do. And you rotate this so it's like this. And then you take the other hand, you just plug that in. So now we've got the right arm, and it has a bicep swivel, double bend elbow, hand rotates, and then the same posability with the fingers as the other arm. And now we're ready to combine everything. This will come right there. Alright, so you can take these guns here, flip this piece back, like so, and then this will slide over. That'll come down, and now we got a shotgun. Same thing on this side, and shotgun. Awesome shotguns. They combine really well. And re-releases, these didn't hold together very well, and they're very clearly two different guns. But this one, I mean, it really does look like one shotgun. So it's awesome. This will fold out like so. You can fold that down, and then you can take this piece here, flip this out, and I almost forgot, you take this piece, fold those in. Again, missile pods down to the bottom, and these two little tabs here and here will slot into blast off, like so, just like that. All right, now let's combine. So we're going to rotate the camera up a little bit. All right, so we'll take onslaught here, and you just tab them in. And these are actually the same exact ports as a TFC combiner, so you can actually mix and match with TFC if you wanted to. Don't know why you'd want to, because this is a completely different scale here. All right, then we take shoulder here, plug it in, shoulder here, plug it in. There we got the arms. You take the sword, the knife here, and you can either plug it into his hand. It just has it's got a slot here, and the hands have a peg, so you can have him hold the knife. If you don't want him to hold the knife, you can take that and plug it in to his forearm right here. So it just kind of hides up right there, which is pretty awesome. And then you take this backpack here and you split this apart like so, and you can see there's a big port and a little port. Now on the back there's the reverse, there's the big port, little port. Line those up, and again, those plug in really easily, and they actually hold very easily. All of my reissues, I essentially had to plug it into one hole and just kind of prop it against the other hole. So the fact that this holds in there, it's not super tight by any means, but it does plug in there just fine, and plugs into both holes, and it just rocks. And there you go. The other posability that we didn't show off is like shoulders rotate up and down. This will in and out, and then the knees do technically, if you wanted to, do swivel. He does have a knee swivel, or a thigh swivel, I guess, and then full bend at the knee. You can take the shotguns and you can plug those into his hands if you want, which looks really nice. Or you can take them, and they got this port here, flip the handle up, and you can, there's a little hole right on each side, and you can plug these in, put this down, plug that in, and plug this all back together. Like so. Alright, and then plug this in to his hand as his giant rifle. There we go. And there you go. There is the Revenge of the Fallen Bruticus with the original Crossfire upgrade kit. Absolutely gorgeous. I think it really ends up pulling it all off in the end. This does really kill it. I love this set. It's just a classic set. One of the best third-party figures to ever come out, because it was one of the first full figures that also upgraded a set. Everybody else is copying this from this point on. Scale, here he is with Cybertron and Megatron, and this scale actually kind of works. Here's the Seeker mold. So these two scale pretty well together, I think. And then with him in the background, this does scale pretty good, because no, he's not a towering behemoth with that Starscream can stand on the shoulder, like in the cartoon, but he is significantly bigger than the regular bots, so he does definitely stand out. And that's, really what I think of when I think of combiners, because I try and go on G1 toy scale more than I do when it comes to combiners, than I do cartoon scale, because honestly, he's too big for Warbatron in combine mode, because he was able to stand on his shoulder in the cartoon, so he has to be smaller than the head. So it's not going to happen. We're never going to get him in scale. Predaking was able to hold 3 or 4 Transformers in his hands, so he would be my scale if you think about it. So we're never going to have that happen. So I prefer to go this scale. They are definitely bigger than the other bots, and stand out. MP wise, there he is. Again, this kind of works because he does tower over Prowl. Now he wouldn't tower over Optimus, so that's where you'd lose it. Because I believe Optimus is about up to here or so. So there's that. and Rodimus. Again, this kind of works if you're okay with just the combiners being a bit bigger than the regular figures. It works better with him than it does with him. So there's that. If you have a bigger classics collection, this guy might be a hesitant purchase. And just because I have him sitting here, here he is with the Microblaze Onslaught. Who this set we're going to look at next. So, just to let you know. And now, the big boys. Let's get the combiners in here. So here he is with the Fansproject Minosaur. Or not, wow. Hasbro Minosaur, sorry. Wow. And you see he is significantly taller than him. But in the cartoon, if you remember, when he was fighting Devastator, Devastator was taller than him. So, he is taller than Devastator here. So this actually works. And then that kind of works, I guess. Alright, get him out of the way. Let's get the other Predacon combiner, or the Decepticon combiner I have. Being Warlord. And there you go. And he's significantly bigger. Than the Bruticus there. And last, certainly not least, Hasbro Superion. So I really like this scale. This is how I always imagined it being. Predaking being the biggest, and then everybody else being approximately the same size. You know, within a little bit. And that's exactly what we got going here. So it's really working, I think. I definitely approve this scale. So he's definitely the smallest, but he was always kind of the smallest in the show. If you guys remember, he was smaller in the show than he was in toy form. So, but he was also one of the strongest. Predaking was always the biggest in the toys, and in the show he was about the same. But you know, right here, this is where I find it hilarious when people say that the Unique Toys is the smallest of the Predacons, because he is. But look how much bigger he is to the other standard combiners. I mean, he just towers over him and looks so much more impressive. Maybe the Giant looks good too. But yeah, anyway, this set, at the time, I would definitely give this thing a 10 out of 10. Seeing what we're able to do now with combiners, I have to give it an 8 out of 10. It still does a really good job upgrading what it needs to upgrade and doing what it needs to do for a inferior Hasbro set. But in comparison to what we've got going on here, and even the Hasbro figures like him are vastly superior to him now. So there you go. And Warlord just tromps him, and then Giant is the best one I have right here when it comes to design and look, in my opinion. Anyway, so sorry this was a long video, 45-minute long, but I just want to get this one done in one video. Next, we're going to look at the Fall Cybertron Combaticons, the retail version with the Microblaze kit. And then at the end of the week, we're going to have a Bruticus war to where I'm going to use my whiteboard and decide which is the best Bruticus for classic scale. We're going to have him versus the Microblaze, and then versus the Bruticus set from X Transbots. So that should be an interesting video.